Hello fellow YouTubers, today is Wednesday. Oh, it's October 31st, All Saints Eve, Halloween. It doesn't mean anything to me, I'm just not into Halloween. It has nothing to do with the history of Australia. That people over here adopt things, and yeah, there'll be folks out and about. Oh yeah, you can bet, I bet you know what's on that. It's been very hot today. 30 plus, depends where you were. In the shade it was probably about 30 degrees. It's cooler now. Of course it's getting on to 5:30, but no, it's been a taste of summer today. Something I'm not looking forward to. I'm dreading summer already. But anyhow, and went for a long dry spell with temperatures soaring all over the place. Yes, anyhow, that's the way it is, isn't it? Well, Gar's been busy in the garden again. I gave her a little bit of a hand to do a few things. But yeah, you can have a bit of a sticky beak. That's colourful, isn't it? Yeah, we put an umbrella up over the fish pond because it gives them a little bit of shade. Stops the build up of algae too. But yeah, everything's looking quite nice. Everything's starting to bloom, as you can see. Yeah, sky's clear as a bell. He plane. There it goes. Yeah, this here, I just made up that that unit for her so she can put on another. I think there's 14 of these little pots for more strawberry. Yes. She's gone berserk for strawberries. I'm not sure there's ginger coming up there. I think. Don't quote me on it. Yes. Oh yes, my Narada tea, I've got to take that up. So I can get, she's put some more plants in here, but she hasn't deadheaded them yet. Yeah, and yeah, she'll get around to doing that. Yeah, but as you can see, it's everything's that's a fig tree. It'll be a while before it gets anything off it. But everything's looking nice here. Look at the lovely, oh, whatever they are. Oh dear. Now these strawberries, yeah, they're going alright. And this one over here too. I'll give you a better look at it shortly. Sun, see the sun's can be a bit of a problem. There's wisteria still going nuts. Look at it. Absolutely nuts. A passion fruit or whatever I think it's passion fruit. But it's going alright. Yeah, have to be careful here with the sun. Yeah, she's putting more. We'll be putting more strawberries in here. Yeah, she's going now. And we put up that new piece of Salon shade cloth down the back, and there's the rest of the strawberries there. There's strawberries all over the place. I don't eat them. I'm a little bit allergic to strawberries down here. That's what it is. All right, well that's about it. Outside here, and I could give you a more detailed look, of course, but yeah, really, you've seen it all before. And oh yes, the noise in the background is the little tower fan going because it is very warm here in the shed. I don't know what the temperature is. Just a sec. It's 29 degrees C, which is 84 Fahrenheit, and it's a bit humid as well. Yes. I've got a water container here, as probably many of you know, and the plastic tube that was in it got a bit iffy. Started, it just didn't, water wasn't tasting right, And I decided, that they're really they can harbour a lot of bacteria and that, so I got rid of it and just started using straws. Well, you can see this straw here, which is a plastic straw, and plastic straws are frowned upon here in Oz, or maybe they are the rest of the world too. But this one's got a fold in it, see, which is good because it just sits there. Otherwise, it would sink into the container. I know this is all pretty boring stuff, but it's good. But anyhow, we went shopping today. Yes, had to go shopping. Had to go around to the council to pay the rates. $566 for the second quarter. Yeah, we pay around about $2,200 a year for land rates. Yeah, that's one. I don't know what sort of rate you pay in the US and UK and Europe and whatever, but yes, $2,240 I think it is, something like that, $44. It's a lot of dough, isn't it? You've virtually got to put away $40 a week just to pay your rates. Let alone your electricity, which usually our electricity bill is around about $450, but if we use the air conditioner, it could be around $600 for a quarter. Yeah, so I've deviated as I normally do. So I bought some straws when we're in. See, these are paper straws. Now, see, that's a funny thing, isn't it? There's the label, and there's the one on the back. But you open it from the top here, and they're upside down. Upside down, Miss Jane, upside down. Yes, that was Mr. Squiggles, a television show. But you see, they don't have the little thing on it. That little thing. And see how short they are? So I suppose I'll just have to, well, let's just see. Put that thingy one out there and I'll just go. And if I let it go, it's gone. It's gone. Gone inside the bottle. Well, that's not very convenient, is it? No, it's not. I'll take that out, put that one there, and I can put the lid back on. And that one sits there, you see? Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyhow. Right here, I'll just put those down here. Yes, we had to go, then we had to go to Kmart, yes, because those little tubs you saw on the racks there are from Kmart, $1 each. And my wife went and bought another 25 today. I don't know, she's probably bought about 60 of those things in the last month. Once she gets a bee in the bonnet, you see, but that's like all women. Once they get a bee in the bonnet, they just keep going and going and going. They keep on keeping on. To each their own. It doesn't really bother me. And what did we do then? Oh, we had to go to Woolworths. Yes, Woolworths. Oh dear, that was okay. Now we came home then, and then she wanted to go to Bunnings again. Yeah, I had to go to Bunnings because she wanted to buy some more pots. I said, if you keep putting all these pots in, this garden, big as it is going to be humongous, humongous, huge. Oh, yeah, if she wants to do it, fair enough. She wants to do it. Who am I to complain? She's the one looking after it. She reckons she has fun, but I don't know. Sometimes she looks that red in the face and is covered in dirt and sweat. And I said, fun, isn't it? Fun gardening's fun, isn't it? Just being a little sarcastic, you see, because she's always saying how fun it is. Oh, good grief. And what else did I get today? Oh, I can't remember what I got. Bailey's out. Gal keeps asking him, are you all right? Are you all right? She thinks that he might be a bit off. Well, I thought, well, if you think he's off, we'll take him to the vet. Oh, no, I'm taking him to the vet. Well, I don't blame her, of course. But if she thinks he's crooked, we'll take him to the vet. Anyhow, I'm going to read a bit more well, I might even try and finish it, if I can. I might make this a long video, but that's okay. That's okay. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, you know what? I noticed when I watch videos on YouTube that many of them have SEO of, say, 10 out of 20 or 19 out of 20, you know, down the right-hand side. Me? I'm rarely there. Rarely. Mine's 0 out of 20, maybe 1 out of 20 occasionally. That's it. Now, why is that? But the more subscribers you have, I suppose you get preference from YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I've noticed that my dear friend Glenda, aka GK, I've got to say, make sure I say GK, because in the past I've said JK. GK Fralin has often got some listings down the side, and good for her, but doesn't happen to me much. Anyhow, let's see if we can get this book done, before the news comes on. The same people who stood, same people who stood their ground and weren't prepared to lend a hand, or even bother to ask if he was all right, and even though it was Peyton, obviously he wasn't. This is the short paragraph before I start again. But if he'd been a beach whale, they'd have been swarming all over him in a frantic effort to help. How true. People got their priorities right. Think more about animals than they do human beings. We're animals after all. We are animals ourselves. Or natural things. But of course, they would be. For what's an eternity, that wasn't more than 10 minutes, 15 tops, Jeremy remained in the outer limits of outrageous misfortune on this outrageous misfortune day of just another day, before he was finally, but very carefully, mind you, able to right himself because he'd been hit in the groin. Every man knows what that's like, I'm sure. I do. Yeah, I've been hit in the groin a couple of times in my time. His mind was still void of thoughts, as he slightly staggered and reeled, acting again on pure instinct as he looked around. An elderly man handed him his umbrella and Jeremy thanked him. Instinct again. A natural thing to do. The boy on the scooter was still there. And then that Jeremy had a thought. A noble and brave thing to do. He was obviously concerned by the look in his eyes, but Jeremy dismissed his fears with a gesture of a hand and a few kind words. Jeremy found it physically hard to say the words. He just didn't feel he had the capacity to speak. He ended up with a squeaky voice. It's not funny. But it was a polite thing to do, so the boy could be on his way and do so with a clear conscience. Way to go, Jeremy. The small crowd had dissipated by now, and Jeremy was glad for that. He hated being the centre of attention, no matter the circumstances. But of course, he would. He fumbled in the pockets of his shorts for a tissue. One of the few he always carried these days, having given up handkerchiefs ages ago. He had plenty of them. There was a number of head colds he succumbed to. He found the tissues are far more hygienic. Well, throw it in the bin. After wiping his eyes, his mouth and blowing his nose, he always carried man-sized tissues. But of course he would. He stood his ground wondering if he was physically capable of continuing on. And if he was, should he? His clothes were wet but not saturated, but he must look, if the way he felt was any indication, the worse for wear. But he was more than halfway to his destination, and he'd have to hobble home in pain, feeling sad and sorry for himself. So why not hobble a lesser distance in pain, feeling sad and sorry for himself, and get the damn thing over and done with, than catch a cab home? With his mind made up, but with his groin letting him know he wouldn't forget this incident in a hurry, Jeremy took his first tentative steps forward, feeling every one of them, desperately wanting to, but not being in the position to stop and shove his hand into his underpants, and reassure himself that his testicles were still right where they should be. Oh, good grief. Oh, good grief. Oh, good grief. So he did the next best thing. And for the remainder of his journey, Jeremy's right hand, secreted as it was inside the right pocket of his shorts, but of course it would be, the other way round would have looked decidedly strange, not to mention imphysically possible, remained constantly in reserve motion as his fingers felt and reassured, gently cupped and supported, caressed and soothed. He did get a few strange looks from passer-bys, though. But only because he looked like he was trying, but obviously failing, to shake something off his shoes with every hobbling step. Ah. And one woman came to an abrupt halt and clutched her two children to her sides as if Jeremy was a potential threat, eyeing him suspiciously. But she stood her ground until he passed by, and continued doing so until the silly-looking man distanced himself. Her reaction didn't surprise him, not in the least, for he could well imagine what a spectacle he was. The people he passed had no idea what had happened to him, of course. But it seemed to Jeremy, and because of it, he was walk hobbling as if he had a bowling ball between his legs. At least a lawn ball anyway. Or maybe it was two. 1 4.5 if the work's in the middle. But no one gave him a second look when he entered the patient waiting reception area of the dental surgery. Maybe because there wasn't anyone there except for the receptionist. And she didn't seem to be concerned about his appearance at all. But then she was sitting down behind the counter and could only see from his shirt pocket up. Jeremy assumed it was Lisa. And he was right. His name, her name tag said so. And when she greeted him by name, which for a moment Jeremy thought she had a good memory, only realised at the very next moment that she had the appointment diary in front of her and there was a big clock on the wall directly behind her. She had the same dulcet tone she had heard on the phone, which surprised Jeremy, for usually the voice in the phone was nothing more than a ruse. And there was another surprise, one that was almost overwhelming because it had never happened before. He didn't have to wait. And boy, oh boy, wasn't he glad for that. Nothing worse, is there? You know, that's the worst part when you're sitting in the waiting room, waiting. Doesn't really bother me. No, not these days. No, not at all. I just sit there, you know, with my arms folded, got my hat, my sunnies on. If I feel weary, I'll close. Then yeah, you don't want to know that, do you? He expected he would have to. What patient doesn't? But the idea of sitting down and getting up again made him feel very uncomfortable. And for good reason. When the dental assistant, Tracy, she too had a name tag and she also happened to be stunningly beautiful, that Jeremy now had someone he could place with Stephanie for his lesbian fantasy. Wow. He also thought he might start visiting the surgery more often. Asked him to sit in the chair. The very instant he put pressure on his buttocks, he felt, and just for a moment or two, as if he'd been zapped with a stun gun. Sat on his gonads. Oh, it's not funny. That tooth giving you trouble, Mr. Wilson? Tracy asked. Well, no, Jeremy replied in a falsetto tone. Well, no. I had a little fall earlier and strained my groin. Any man who has been king hit in the groin could understand what he had and was still going through. But any woman could only imagine, like any man could only imagine what it must be like giving birth. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this through. Oh, I can't imagine what that must be like. Jeremy winced and smiled, although she probably thought it was a grimace. And you're wet too. Get caught out in the rain, did you? Yeah. Well, you're not the only one to sit in that chair today a little damp. Good, Jeremy thought. But I bet none of them have had a day like I've had. So, she said, tying the bib behind Jeremy's neck, what sort of day have you had? Jeremy wasn't in the mood for small talk, even though she was stunningly beautiful. So he didn't beat around the bush when he replied, lousy. The dentist, Dr. Newman, she wasn't stunningly beautiful, nor was she attractive. She wasn't even pretty, which was probably a good thing because she wouldn't be worried about breaking a fingernail. I just entered the surgery at that moment, looked at Jeremy, smiled and said, not having a very good day, Mr. Wilson? No. Maybe you feel a little bit better after I take care of that troublesome tooth. Open wide, please. And so it began. The poking, the x-ray, the waiting, the banal rhetoric, the squirming in the chair, which had nothing to do with what was going to happen, the disappointment on both their faces when Jeremy said he wanted the tooth pulled, the needle, once, twice, a third time for good measure. I can save this tooth, Mr. Wilson. You sure you wouldn't rather have it filled? No. Open wide, please. In less than 10 minutes, she had the bloodied and broken pieces of tooth sitting on a piece of white gauze. And Jeremy had barely felt a thing. After rinsing his mouth once, twice, a third time, just for the hell of it, and biting down on the gauze wad which he couldn't feel at all, he was once again standing before the reception counter depositing $225 on the desk top while Lisa wrote out a receipt. By God, but that hurt. But of course, it would. Saying goodbye to Lisa and receiving the same and a smile in return, Jeremy stepped outside, hesitated for a moment as he opened the umbrella and a moment or two longer deciding what to do next. Oof. The last time he'd had a tooth extracted, it cost him $120. Now he had but a miserly $5 in his wallet, and that wasn't enough to cover the taxi fare home. He could go to an ATM, of course, but he just couldn't for the life of him be bothered doing that. So he decided to walk home. The local anaesthetic had been kind to him and he wasn't feeling any effects at all. And even though he wasn't completely sure, it was hard to tell with a bowling ball between his legs. The other one had disappeared by now, the small one. Applying pressure to his abdomen, and the feeling in his gut had gone, which probably happened the very instant when the scooter impacted with his groin. He was thankful for that. Not thankful about the scooter impacting with the groin, but thankful the doomsday feeling in his gut had gone. He was also thankful that what happened had happened to him, although he certainly wasn't over the moon with the outcome. A twisted ankle would have done nicely. Thank you very much. And what, if any, damage had been done? Jeremy thought as he walked. Surely such an impact might have upset the apple cart a bit, ruptured a blood vessel or two, squashed the testes. Swollen them to be sure, there's no doubt about that. Well, if one felt like a bowling ball and the other was smaller, well, yeah. Maybe I'll become impotent. Start shooting blanks. Have more trouble pissing than I'm having now. Maybe I won't be able to piss. Maybe I should stop being so pessimistic and think pleasant thoughts and stop worrying so. On second thought, maybe I'd be better off not thinking at all and concentrate on where I'm walking. After all, Look what happened before when I had my head in the clouds. I think I will call it quit there because the news will be on shortly. I got a gut feeling about that, but also because I looked at the time, and I like to watch the news. But I will finish the reading next time because there's only about a couple of 3,000 words to read. And I want to thank you for watching and for listening, and I want to say thank you to my friend Jeremy in Arizona. He said he loved the book, Aggravation, and he's a very funny fellow with his comments, very funny. Thank you, Jeremy. And until next time, thank you for watching. And I said that. Bye for now. Oh, and another thing, I got a call from the hospital yesterday, and I'm booked in for November 26th, but they said it was only for a gastrostomy. Yeah. I said, well, the referral was for both. I got the TV on, I'm sorry. Yeah, for both. So they got to get back to me again anyhow. But so I'll keep you informed. Uru.